Hey, gals and guys, it's Chris Mosier from MyMediaHelper.com, and I created a video a few months ago about movies that I've been watching or watched at the time. And every time I watch a movie, I'll put it up on my Facebook and then put a little review of each movie so my friends can get an idea of what I thought at least a movie is, good or bad. I also wanted to mention, so I'm 54 years old, and the only reason I mention that is to the fact that I've seen a lot of movies through my life. So when I watch newer movies, I've seen a lot of it before, and I think that's why an older audience says this is redundant, this is old, we've seen it all before. We don't really think about like the 19-year-olds, the 18-year-olds, the younger people that haven't seen a lot of movies. So they haven't seen this before. So Hollywood does keep churning out the same product. But we're definitely not the demographic that they're aiming for, 54-year-olds. They aim usually for 18 to 35, maybe younger. That's the major demographic where the money comes from. That's what the Hollywood studios, the big blockbusters, are aiming for. They're not aiming for people like me. So you older people, you old farts out there, that's why we keep seeing the same movie over and over and over again. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I'm going to go through several movies. I've seen several movies since the last video that I've made. So I'm just going to be a talking head through this video. And let's get going. So some of these are going to be mainstream movies I didn't add those before. And some of them are going to be movies I never heard of, smaller movies. Perhaps you haven't heard of them before. Maybe you have, and I just never got around to watching it or hearing about it. So the first one that I watched after the last video was The Greatest Beer Run Ever. And what I did is brought up these to see what Rotten Tomatoes thought of it, or what score it's gotten on Rotten Tomatoes, to see if I agree with that or not, because I don't believe Rotten Tomatoes is always correct. I think people who are involved in the movie or friends of people involved in the movie falsely put... what am I trying to say? They just falsely inflate or deflate the movie's value, depending. Maybe it's a filmmaker that people hate. Maybe you're just an asshole and people just want to put your movie down even though it's good. So I don't really base my taste or what I decide to watch on Rotten Tomatoes. I base what I watch based on the trailer, and if I think the trailer is good. So if the trailer connects with me, then I will watch the movie. And most of these are going to be comedy and action movies because, as I said in the last video, if I want real life, I'll go to work. Right now I'm a social worker, so that's enough real life for me. I want fantasy when I come home. I want stupid comedies. I want action. So that's pretty much what we're going to stick to. So this movie, I really enjoyed it. Does it deserve a 43%? I think it deserves a little higher. Bill Murray plays the bartender in that. He's great in it. I was surprised that he was in there. Russell Crowe, I was really surprised what a great job he did. Zac Efron, I never liked Zac Efron in any movie. I think he was in in Neighbors or something. He was they were like a maternity, not a maternity, not a maternity, a paternity. Anyways, they lived next to this other couple, Seth. I had to look it up. Yeah, Seth Rogen. That's who I was trying to think of. Rose Byrne. Yeah, and there's Zac Efron. He was the neighbor, and he had the fraternity. Where a bunch of college kids stay. Fraternity. Why do I want to say maternity? Anyways, I was never a big Zac Efron fan, and this actually, he did a great job in this, and he turned me around. So I enjoyed his performance, and now I'll look forward to other stuff that he did. Maybe because he just did stupid movies like Neighbors, which I didn't think was overly great. But anyways, so I think that was a great movie. Polite Society was really, really good. It's kind of a Asian, Indian Asian, because there's characters in the family in it. Martial arts film, and the girl in it sees conspiracies everywhere, sees danger everywhere. Is she right? Is she wrong? You'll have to see the movie. I'm not going to give spoilers away. It gives it a 91 Rotten Tomatoes score. I guess I would agree with that. Maybe a little lower. So I would highly recommend this movie if you haven't heard of it and you haven't seen it. It's pretty good. Idiocracy has been around since 2006. I never even knew it existed. And it's pretty good. It's a good concept. So it's basically just maybe not the brightest guy in the world, maybe like someone like me who's not the brightest guy in the world, and he goes to this future place or this different place where everyone's fucking stupid, which I need to go to apparently, and they're all dumb. So he seems like a genius. This was a great concept. This was a great idea, and it made for good comedy. Yep, Luke Wilson, and it was great. I highly recommend this. It was pretty funny, and yeah, check it out. Godzilla Minus One. This was a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic movie. You got subtitles to deal with, so you gotta read. So that's not terrible. The reading's not terrible, and it's the best Godzilla movie by far that I've ever seen. It's the best interpretation of Godzilla that I've ever seen. Maybe compared to the first one because his first appearance. I mean, that's a classic, right? It brought the monster. It brought the monster to the mainstream and to the public. And so I don't know if I can overshadow the first one because we wouldn't have this without the first one, right? But Godzilla Minus One, I highly recommend this movie. Not even if you're not into Godzilla or monsters or anything. It's really about the characters. It's a character driven movie, probably more than any other Godzilla movie has ever been. There's a lot of destruction. So if you're into those catastrophe movies, if you're interested in those, a lot of that in there, and there's a lot of Godzilla. So all three of those factors are great. Watch it for one of those factors. If you just want the human factor, there's a story in there, and more than a story about the humans that aren't boring, because all the human subplots, especially in the new Hollywood ones, are just boring and pointless, and everyone's waiting for the monster. In this one, the whole movie, the whole package is fantastic. Here's another really good movie that I liked, Abigail. I really can't say much about it except that it was good. Or I'll give it away. Do not watch the trailer. If you've never heard of it and you want to watch it, I can't say anything about it or it will give it away. Just don't watch the trailer and just watch the movie. If you get to a point where it's not for you, then fine, you can turn it off. But I highly recommend it. And 83% at Rotten Tomatoes. I'll totally agree with that. Good movie. Watch it. That's all I can say. Can't say anything else. So we'll go to the next one. Boy Kills World. This was a good action movie. Stupid action movie, but a good action movie. This Bill Skarsgård, he plays the Crow. I'll touch upon the Crow probably at the end. I think it's down here a little bit. And this guy right here, Andrew Koji. So I started to watch a show called Warrior, who he's the main character protagonist in, and it's a fantastic show. If you haven't seen Warrior, check out that show. I'm not sure who does it, if it's Netflix or who does it, really. But he happens to be in there, and it was good to see him in there. And Famke Jensen, who can't watch her for a couple hours? She's fantastically beautiful. She's aging. Oh, she's aging so well. I love her so much. Good cast. I've never heard of half these people, and it's a good revenge. Action is ridiculous, bloody movie. So if you're into action, blood, some comedy in there, this is movies for you. Revenge pick. I love revenge films. Man on Fire is one of my favorites, just because about it. So this is a good revenge movie. All right. I was a little afraid when I started watching this. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. I love the Beverly Hills Cop series. It's from the 80s. That's my decade when I was a kid. And it did really well, according to Netflix. And I was a little, when I started watching it, the beginning, I was kind of on the fence. And then once the beginning plot line, they do a small plot line in the beginning, and then they get to the rest of the movie with the main plot line. It's kind of iffy for me, but once it got going, and after that, it turned into a great movie, and I loved it. It was fun. All the returning characters. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, yeah, he was great in it. So hopefully it will The franchise will continue with Eddie Murphy. You can't have it without Eddie Murphy, and they were great together. They were a great team up. John Ashton's getting old. I mean, they're all getting old, right? But Eddie Murphy looks great for his age, and I think he can pull off a couple more of them. And I hope he does, because it was a good, fun movie. So if you're into the Beverly Hills Cop movies, you'll really like it. Way better than 3. 3 was all right. It wasn't very good, but it's so much better than 3. It got a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think I can agree with that. This was this was funny. This is a small movie, Thelma. It's very rare that you see an old woman become somewhat of an action star. It's not an action movie, but she does get her digs in, and she just goes out for her own brand of justice. This is the last movie of Richard Roundtree, who played the original Shaft. So he'll be missed. He's been in tons of stuff. He was also in the remake of Shaft in the 90s or 2000s, and then he was in the other remake of Shaft, which was a few years ago, which were both really good. It had Sam Jackson and him in it, and the new guy. I couldn't even tell you the new guy's name. It was an okay movie. The Shaft remake with Sam Jackson was great, and I've never seen the Shaft movie, so maybe I should go back sometime and watch it. But anyways, it was a cute movie. It's not fantastic. Let's see what it gave it a 99% in Rotten Tomatoes. I don't remotely agree with that. I would say a 50%. It was cute. It was watchable. It was fun. I had a good time watching it. It's not terrible. I would check it out. I wouldn't give it a 99 in Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't always agree with Rotten Tomatoes, obviously. JOJO Rabbit, Watiki, what's his name there? Yeah, Takaya Watiti, whatever his name is. He directed this. He was in it. He's an actor and a director, as you probably know. He absolutely destroyed the last Thor movie. He's just too wacky. He's too goofy for a Thor movie. This was a movie. Well, he directed it, right? So this was the kind of movie that he's good for. It is a good movie. It takes place during World War II. There's a Jew and a German kids, and they basically they come together and become friends, and it's a wacky movie how they do it. There was a really good intense part in it that was great, and I recommend it. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes gives it. Gives it an 80, so I agree with that. JoJo Rabbit, go ahead, watch it. It's good. Oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson is in it. I forgot she was in it, and Sam Rockwell's in it. Oh yeah, okay. I haven't seen this in a while. Oh yeah, they're both great in it. Sam Rockwell is Sam Rockwell. He's a great actor. I love him. And Scarlett, she's beautiful, and she does a great part in it. Shit, I forgot they were in it. Yeah, they're great in it. Marley and Me. This is an old one from 2008. Probably most people have heard of it. Probably most people have seen it. If you're a dog lover, it's a good movie. If you had dogs, it's a good movie. It's funny, and it's a good movie. Can't say much else without giving it away. It's just the story of a dog and the dog's family. That's all. So Snack Shack. This is teen comedy. It's well written. It's a good movie. I liked it. Oh, actually, let's go back and what did they give Marley and Me? 63%. Okay, that's cool. Snack Shack 77%. So again, it's exactly as the namesake suggests. Two friends open a snack shack at a pool, and they do interesting designs on their hot dogs, and they start selling these interesting designs on their hot dogs and make a lot of money. And it's just a teen comedy. I mean, it wasn't that funny, but it was okay. It's not in the same vein as Porky's, which I loved. They play it straight, and there's character development, and there's real characters in it. It's not a stupid teen comedy. It's got some intelligence behind it, but it is a teen comedy, so I recommend it. And I'm not a teen; I'm an old fart. Jackpots. This was great. I just saw this the other day. This was fantastic. It didn't do very well on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 31. I don't agree with this at all. I give it like a 70, I think. This was fantastic. Okay, the action was great. The movie's stupid. The whole movie is stupid, and it knows it's stupid. The thing I can relate it to is Big Trouble in Little China, which is a fucking stupid movie, but it's great. It's got great action. It's got great comedy. It's got great action scenes. It's got quirky characters, and it knows it's dumb. That's why I compare it to Big Trouble in Little China. Jackpot is just a great movie. I think I'm going to watch it again today because I haven't seen it in a couple weeks. John Cena, who is coming out of nowhere, really. He hasn't really blown up since recently. I'd say the last 5 years, and he's in his 40s, early 40s, late 40s, and his career is taking off as far as acting. Obviously, he was a wrestler before he had a big career in that. And so, speaking of that, here's a movie I knew that existed, The Marine. I never had any interest in watching it because I didn't really know who John Cena was, and there were so many stupid action movies like the Dolph Lundgren movies and Van Damme. I like them both, but their movies aren't good. Those 90s, those 2000 action movies. Box. I'm trying to think of that stupid movie with. It will come to me. Anyways, just a lot of random football players, wrestlers, action movies of that era. They were all terrible, and I thought this was just going to be just like it, but it was actually a solid action movie. Nothing to write home about, as they say. Not a spectacular film, but as an action movie, just to watch and enjoy. And it got 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't agree with that at all. Maybe 40, maybe 50. Not high, but it's definitely better than a 17. I've seen some shitty action movies that get higher than that. Definitely not a Steven Seagal film. Nothing of that low quality. Actually, some good action, and John Cena does a great job in it. So I highly recommend it. Box. Why can't I remember that fucking stupid movie? I'm gonna have to look it up. Forget. Not Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold movie. Brian Bosworth. That's who I was trying to think of. Yeah, that movie was terrible. So a lot better than Stone Cold. All right, where are we here? There's the Marine and the Instigators. I just saw that 2 days ago. Basically, it's the Fleck brother. What's his name there? Yeah, Casey Affleck and Matt Damon, and they're trying to not really giving anything away here. They're trying to steal money from a political campaign, and everything that could possibly goes wrong goes wrong. This would be what happens if I tried to steal money from a political campaign. Everything would go wrong because that's my life. And I can relate a lot to this, except I've never stolen from a political campaign. So sort of, if that makes any sense. Good movie. It's got laughs. It's not supposed to be a comedy, I don't think. It's got laughs. It's a good movie. It's a solid movie. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes gives it. I give it a 40. I'll agree with that. It's a solid 40. A high 40. Is there a low 40? If there's a low 40 and a high 40, it would be the high 40. Almost a 41. That's what I mean. So I would check it out. Good movie. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So Queenpins. I just saw this last night, actually, and it was an enjoyable film. It wasn't a gut-wrenching, laugh-out-loud film, but it is a comedy, and it is. I chuckled a little bit inside myself. The little person that's inside me chuckled. It wasn't, shout out laughter or big belly laughs or anything like that. But it was a cute movie about people who counterfeited coupons. It was interesting. It was clever and different. I thought different. This dude right here, Paul Walter Hauser. This dude is in everything now. I'm seeing him crop up in everything. If you don't know, he's in Cobra Kai. He plays one of the characters in Cobra Kai. Started out as a pretty small part in Cobra Kai, and they kind of buffed it up a little bit as seasons progressed. And now he's turning into a big time movie star, being in a lot of shit that I see. And he was in this. He was very good in this. He plays the same character. He plays Paul Walter Hauser. He's not a character actor. Kristen Bell, she's beautiful. She can have me. I love her in everything. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything bad. And this was a fun movie. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes gave it. Where is Rotten Tomatoes score? Where is it, Jay? Queenpins. There it is, 48%. Okay, I'll agree with that, I suppose. Maybe a little higher. Give it 50%. I give it a couple extra percent points. I enjoyed it a lot. It entertained me. It wasn't bad. Let's see what else we got. We got Incoming. I don't remember. I just saw this a couple weeks ago. I don't remember a lot about this movie. It's a disposable movie. It was a cute movie, I guess. It's a teen. I don't know if you'd say comedy. I guess it's supposed to be a teen comedy drama. Teen Mama. A Teen Mama. Is that what it is? Comedy drama? A teen comedy drama? Is that a Teen Mama? Teen Mama? Anyways, I don't remember a lot about it. It's, boy wants girl, and they go through hijinks and breaks up with girl, and all the tropes that you've seen in a million other teen movies are pretty much here. That's what I mean about when I said I'm 45 years old or 54 years old. I just de-aged myself. I'm 54 years old, and I've seen this movie 100 times. Maybe you're 16, 17 years old, and you haven't seen it 100 times. This might be fresh for you, but for me, it's old news. I've seen it before. I don't remember a lot about it. All I can remember is it wasn't a bad film. I made it through the film. It wasn't terrible. Now we're getting into terrible. Now we're getting into iffy movies, I think, because I watched this yesterday too, and this was a piece of shit. Borderlands is a terrible fucking movie all the way through. It's probably the worst movie of 224, for me anyways. It's just bad. I'm not a Kevin Hart fan. I never have been. I don't think he's funny. So if you like Kevin Hart, maybe you'll be into it. I love Kate Blanchett. I think she's beautiful. Watching her ass in leather pants for a couple hours isn't a terrible thing. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 10%. I'm going to 100% agree with that. Maybe lower. I don't think it should get any percent. Yeah, I don't like this movie at all. Jamie Lee Curtis, she was in it. Who else is in this thing? Bobby Lee, Kevin Hart. Oh, Jack Black. I think he did the voice of the robot that's in it. It's just a god awful movie. It's just loud and obnoxious, and the script sucks, and it's just garbage. My opinion. I'm really interested in what you thought about it. It didn't do very well in the box office, and that's why. The Killer. This is directed by John Woo. John Woo used to be a really big deal, like in the early '90s. With Face Off, and I forget the first one with Van Damme. I think he did one with Van Damme. It was very new. It was very original. His style was very new and very original. Now it just seems old and done to death. He's got his patented slow motion scenes in here. When John Woo came around, first thing came to America, Hollywood. His movies were revolutionized. I'm 54 years old. I have senior moments. Give me a break. It's not a terrible movie, and it's not a great movie. It's got 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's a little high. The action is great, but it's been, other filmmakers have taken from John Woo, I think, and have just built it up. Take the John Wick movies. Even like the Matrix movies, John Bourne movies, the Bourne Identity movies, things like that have raised the bar, I think. And John Woo, I think, is back, still down where he was in the 90s. He was great in the 90s, but his style is still the same. And we've seen it in 100 movies since then. But when his style first came around, boy, it was awesome. It's still awesome. It's not a terrible movie. If you like action movie, it's okay. All right, you're not going to get anything too spectacular out of it. I like the characters in it, the two characters that are in it. This English black guy here and this chick right here. She's the killer and he's the cop. I'm not giving anything away here. That you'll find that out right off the bat. And I like their chemistry together and how they work together. And I like all that. So if you watch the trailer, I haven't really given anything away. Greedy People. I think I liked the beginning more than the ending. It was okay. I think it's supposed to be a dark comedy. Was there a lot of comedy in it? Not much. It was okay. I made it through the movie. It was entertaining enough. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes gives it. 61, I think, is pretty high for this. Jason Gordon-Levitt is in it again, who I like. He's a good actor. Never heard of this dude. Himesh Patel. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything. Tracy Lords? Oh, no shit. Okay, I didn't realize she was in it. She's now I know who she plays. Yeah, wow. She's old. That must mean I'm old. Yeah, Tracy Lords has been around a long time. Holy shit, I didn't know she was in it. Yeah, it's all right. It's not a great movie. I just watched this last night too. It's called The Guilty with Jake Gyllenhaal. I think his name is Gyllenhaal. Is that how you pronounce it? I think so. The Guilty is one of those one location movies that obviously is filmed all in one location. He's a 911 operator. He was a police officer. He did something extremely bad, and he's going to court the next day. And the story kind of, well, it does delve in. It's part of the story. It's part of his character. But the story revolves about a woman that's kidnapped, and him being a 911 operator, and the calls and what he has to go through to get this woman unkidnapped. And I'm not giving anything away. There's twists in it. I think it's well acted. I think his character is a little over the top sometimes. He's a very angry character. I wouldn't necessarily call him a sympathetic character. I didn't particularly like him. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I just didn't like his character. So he's not very sympathetic, but I don't think he's really supposed to be. He's a guy that did something really, really bad. And in this movie, he's trying to redeem that. And he's not a very good person in it. And at the end, I think he not only redeems himself, but he becomes a better person. But you decide. Again, I don't think I'm giving anything away. But they gave it a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's a good call. And Ethan Hawke does a voice. They all do voices in it. I don't think they're actually like Paul Dano. He's not in the movie. Bill Burr. He's not physically. You don't see him. You hear his voice. So a good movie, well acted. He did a fantastic job, and I would highly recommend it. I really liked it. The Crow. Oh. It's got that guy in it we just talked about. What's his name? Oh, yeah, Bill Skarsgård. I don't have a problem with him. I have a problem with this movie. Honest to tell you, I only made it through 20 minutes of this movie. I couldn't get through it. It was stupid. And as I understand it, it didn't do very well at the box office. So other people thought it was stupid too. What did it get? What did we got here? 22 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll take Rotten Tomatoes. I'll take their review to heart because I didn't see the whole thing. So it's not really fair for me to question that. It sucked. The only reason I made it through Borderlands is because it was up on this other monitor and I was doing other things. The Crow, I was actually watching it without doing anything else. And I just couldn't. I should have done something else and just left it on in the background because I couldn't get through it. It was just terrible. If you haven't seen it, watch the Brandon Lee, The Crow. I'm not so into that movie where I can't appreciate another version of The Crow, but Brandon Lee's is still the best. They had sequels after that sucked that I tried to watch. The only one that's ever been good is the Brandon Lee one, and this is also another terrible one, and people will forget about it in another month. I don't have to talk a lot about this. Deadpool and Wolverine, you can see reviews all over the place. I loved it. It's fantastic. It got 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it should be higher. It was a great movie. It's probably my favorite movie of 2024. Love Lies Bleeding. I hate this movie because I am a homophobe and I'm misogynistic. No, that's not really why. I didn't like the movie. It wasn't very good. It probably got hyped just because, it got 94%. I don't think it deserves that at all. I think because it does deal with a homosexual character, or they're homosexuals in the movie, the girls, and the girl in it, I think it's Katie M. O'Brien. She's built. She's really built. She looks good in it. Kristen Stewart. There's nothing wrong with their performances. It just wasn't a very good movie. I don't remember a lot about it. And I didn't like it. And because I'm a homophobe and a misogynistic, apparently. If you don't like movies with homosexuals in it or women-based movies, you're a homophobe and misogynistic, according to a lot of people. If I didn't like either, with Ryan Reynolds, because I'm a homophobe and misogynistic, I didn't like If. It's all right. I made it through the movie. I didn't particularly like it. Steve Carell's in it. Oh yeah, John Krasinski wrote it and directed it, I do believe. It's okay. I think if you're a kid, it wasn't. I'm not the demographic for this movie. I think if you're a kid, you'll enjoy it. Um, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I don't know what to tell you. It wasn't built for me. So if you got kids, try it out. If you like kids movies, try it out. I do like kids movies. I like Trek, and I'm trying to think what else. I like kids movies if they're done well. Inside Out Inside Out, is that what it is? The little character goes inside the girl's brain, and all these little characters play different parts of herself. I loved that movie. I think it's Inside Out or something like that. It's a good movie, but this was not. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I don't remember that much about it. I remember some of it taking place on a big cruise, or not cruise ship, battleship. It was great effects. I don't remember a lot about it. It was all right. All I can remember is all right. The effects were very good as usual. It didn't dazzle me. It didn't. It's again, it's a disposable movie, as I said before. It's a movie that you'll watch and enjoy, and then you'll forget about it the next day. It's nothing that stayed with me. So I would recommend it just because I know I didn't hate it. I love the other three. I don't think it was as good as the other three, but I gave it again an 80%, and I'm sure they'll make a couple more based on those characters. I'm pretty sure. The Fall Guy, this might not be a very popular opinion because I think it's split down the middle at least. I didn't like this movie at all. I grew up with a TV show. That's not the reason I didn't like this movie. The television show was never very good. It was all right. I used to watch it. It was cheesy. It was corny. This movie is cheesy and corny and has stupid jokes and stupid action, and it's pointless, really. I didn't like it. I was bored. So I've seen it all before. Maybe if you're 15, 16 years old and never seen a lot of action movies, then maybe you'll get something out of it. I don't know. If you love stuff like this, if you like redundancy and seeing the same movie 15, 20 times in your lifetime, then certainly watch The Fall Guy. You'll love it. And they just made an extended cut, I think, of 20 extra minutes. Why? So I can be bored 20 more minutes? So I can be bored 20 more minutes? All right. I don't know what the hell's wrong with Sony. Maybe the past 10, 15 years. They just make shit. Everything that they churn out is shit. Madam Web was shit. This is kind of shit. It's stupid. That's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It's got too many characters in it, too many subplots, and there's a hint of a female lesbian, just a hint between the daughter and this ghost. And I'm a homophobe, so of course I didn't like it. They didn't really go too far with it because I don't think they want to alienate people who are really homophobes who want to go see this. I don't know. It's so weird. The whole gender thing, the whole sexuality thing, the way it's treated is so weird to me. It is what it is. And people can accept it or not accept it. I don't know why we make a big deal about it. If it's in a movie, it's like if they're straight, then you don't make a big deal about it in the movie. They're straight, but for some reason, because they're homosexual, it's like a big deal. And it shouldn't be, right? It's 2024, and it's just weird to me. That's all. I don't think it should make a difference. But same with race. If you make a movie full of black people, then oh my god, that's like spectacular. And why? It's a movie. It's just with different types of people. It's all right. That's my side bitch. I just don't know why people then they got to throw out misogyny and you're homophobic because you don't like a movie like Ghostbusters 2016. I hated that movie. It sucked. Not because it had 4 lead women, because the movie sucked. Charlie's Angels, the new one. The movie sucked. It has nothing to do with the whole cast was female and it was directed and written by a female. It has nothing to do with that. But if you didn't like it, Madam Web, if you didn't like it, you're misogynistic. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But that's the excuse Hollywood and people use. I don't know why. All right, that's my random rant on that. I didn't really particularly like this movie. I didn't think it was very good. I wish they would have went in a different direction to the get-go. Really a good idea that I heard about a long time ago is a Ghostbuster franchise and how the 4 would have dealt with that. I think that would have involved a lot of comedy, especially with Bill Murray, as they're trying to expand different franchises, and maybe all the franchises at the end come together to fight the big baddie. I think that would have been a fantastic idea, but this is just characters thrown into it. They don't know what to do with some of the characters. The son, the mother, they have no idea what to do with them. They just throw them in there, and it's just a big mess. And the original Ghostbusters all show up at the end, except for Harold Ramis, obviously. No CGI Harold Ramis. It's not a good movie. I didn't like it. It had parts that are okay. I made it through it. It's entertaining enough to get through, but I didn't particularly like it. It got 42 on Rotten Tomatoes. I give it like a 20. Lastly is Roadhouse. The Patrick Swayze Roadhouse was a cheesy movie. It was a typical, I think it was a 90s movie, if I'm not mistaken, typical 90s action movie. Patrick Swayze made the movie. It's a classic movie, and I didn't think it needed to be remade. I still don't. I'm not too into remakes. Again, I'm 54 years old. I'll throw out there again. And I'm not the person that they're aiming these remakes for. These old IPs, they're shooting it to new blood. That's what they're doing. And they're not doing it to people that grew up with the TV shows or the movies. It's for kids and younger people. This movie didn't need to be made. It wasn't a terrible movie. I actually enjoyed this movie. It had a lot of good action. And Gyllenhaal there is always good. I don't think I've seen him in a bad movie that I can think of. It was a good movie. I would recommend it. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes gives. 59%. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that number. All right, gals and guys, this was a giant movie rant. I can't believe how many movies I've seen. They add up, and if you've made it through this entire video, well, thank you. I'd be surprised, and I'd really be interested in your thoughts down in the comments. If you agreed or not agreed, as I said, it's all interpretation and how you perceive something, be it art or television, movies, and so on. That's how I perceive it. It doesn't necessarily mean how you're going to perceive it. I think most of my recommendations are usually almost on the money, but doesn't every person? I'm not a reviewer. I don't review movies normally, yet I'm doing a video reviewing movies. I'm just giving my opinion on what I think and giving movies, especially in the beginning of this video, of movies maybe you never heard of. But I just decided to throw in these mainstream movies this time out to the fact that I've seen quite a few of them in the past few months. All right, gals and guys, I've ranted enough. I enjoy doing this just because I don't have to edit the shit out of it. And I enjoy just sitting down and rambling about movies that I've seen because I like talking about movies. If you like this video, certainly subscribe and share and do the thumbs up and hit the bell and all that bullshit. And I'll catch you next time, maybe in 3, 4, or 5 months after I watch a bunch of other movies. And tell me what movies you like, what you recommend. I'd really like to know movies that aren't necessarily mainstream, movies I might not necessarily ever heard of. Those are the types of movies that I seem to search for, and the type of movies that I really like because there's something different. All these mainstream movies are just the same thing over and over again. Fuck Sony. And I'll catch you later. Bye.